lesson 1 of how to trade. So, the first thing we need to know about the share market moving up and down is the candle that we're looking at an up candle or a down candle? And it's not actually the color of the candle that tells us this. So a blue candle means it opened low and closed high, and a red candle tells us that it opened high and closed low, which means this blue candle overall went up during this time frame, and a red candle tells us that overall it went down. But if we look at a candle, if we want to know if a candle is an up candle or a down candle, it's actually the previous candle that we're comparing it to that gives us a lot of information. So if we just start at the far left here, we've got a candle, but we've got nothing to the left to look at it, to compare it to. So we'll have a look at this candle instead, the next one in. Is it an up candle or a down candle? Well, the very top of the candle, the top of this wick, is higher than the top of this candle, and the low is higher than the low of the previous candle. So we've got a higher high and a higher low. That tells us that that is an up candle. Now if we compare the next candle to the previous candle, we've got a lower high, so the highs went down and the lows went down. Therefore, this candle here is a down candle, down relative to the previous candle. Then if we look at the next one, we've got a higher high, so the high of this one and the high of this one, this candle's gone higher. So it's a higher high, but it's also a lower low. So this is not an up candle or a down candle. For this trading system, we're just going to call it a sideways candle. And then we have another candle. If we look at the next one, this one here, is it an up, a down, or a sideways candle? It's a lower high and it's a higher low. We can see that that's the very bottom and that's the very bottom of this candle. So therefore, it's still a sideways movement. So from this candle to this candle to this candle, that's all sideways movements. Then the next candle, this one here, the high is lower and the low is lower. So it's a down candle. So that is the point where we can say that is a low. There we go. That's a low. And the next candle has got a higher point. It's a higher low and it's a higher high. So that's an up candle. Now the next candle was a sideways candle, and the next candle is a sideways candle, and the next candle is a down candle. So from here we had an up candle, and then here we had a down candle, and these two were inside candles or sideways candles. So the highest point between the lows is this. So that is the highest point, and then it started coming down. Then it went sideways. Then it went, this one here is the exact same height. So those two are actually on the exact same low. So it's not lower and it is higher. So we're going to call that a sideways candle as well, because a higher candle or an up candle means it has to be a higher low and a higher high. This isn't a higher low. So therefore this red candle is a sideways movement to the blue candle. So we've gone from here, this red candle was an inside candle, so it's a sideways movement. This blue candle is a sideways movement. This red candle is a downward movement. This blue candle is a sideways movement. This red candle is a sideways movement. This blue candle is a down movement. So from this high point here to this point here has all been either down or sideways. There has been no upward candle. So we can say that that was the downward movement. And this next candle has a higher high and a higher low. So now it's starting to move up again. Now the next candle has a higher high and a higher low, so that's an upward candle. The next candle is inside. The next candle is also there's also inside because it hasn't got a higher high. It's got a higher high, but it doesn't have a higher low. So that is still an inside candle or a sideways movement. The next candle is a up candle, or it's a candle that's trending up. So the high, this high here, is higher than this high here. So we've got higher highs, and the low is higher than the previous low. So that is an up candle as well. The next one is a sideways movement for the lows. So we can see that all these lows here are the same at the same price, even though the highs have come. The highs are varying, the lows are not. So it's all sideways movement until we get to this blue candle. This blue candle has got a higher low and it's a higher high. So from this low here, we've gone up, up, side, side, up, side, side, up, and then another sideways candle here. Now we've got another downward candle. So here is a downward candle. Here was our last downward candle between the previous downward candle from this one was here. So that means these were all either up candles or sideways candles. So we just take the highest point between the two, which is here. As soon as I can do that, there we go. That is our highest point. So we can say that the price has come down to this point, then it's gone up to this point. Then it was down, sideways, 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 down. So although it looks like a little up movement, it isn't. This is all sideways. So from all the data we've got here, this final candle is another downward candle. So this is one solid push down. It's either been down candles or sideways candles. So that is how this chart looks. We might as well just do the ones from the start. So here, this first candle, this candle here, the second candle on the chart on the screen, was an up candle because it had a higher high and a higher low. So that was our high. Then it was down, sideways, sideways, down, up. So on our first up candle, we can say that this was the lowest point before it moved up. So there, that was the upward movement. Went up, then it went sideways, sideways, down, sideways, sideways, down. And this down candle has a lower point than this candle. So we'll say that the trend went down that far before it made an up candle. The up candle tells us that this is the lowest point of that movement. So it was either sideways or down for this entire move here. Then it was up, up, side, side, up, side, side, up, side. Even though this is a sideways candle, the highest point of it is higher than any other point in this movement. So we'll say that that is the high of this move. And then it made a downward candle. Then it made a sideways candle, then a sideways candle, then a sideways candle, then a sideways candle, then a down candle. And that's the lowest point between of this entire move. The lowest point is the low of this candle before the highest point of the previous move. So that's how we read the chart. It's either an up candle, a downward candle, or a sideways candle. And the sideways candle can be bigger than the previous candle, or it can be smaller than the previous candle. So we'll just have a look at sideways candles one more time. So if we're looking just at this little part here, we say that this candle is a sideways movement to this red candle because it had a higher high and a lower low. So it was just bigger overall than this candle, higher and lower than this candle. So that is a sideways movement. This next candle is lower in the highs and it's higher in the low. So it's a lower high and a higher low, which means it's a sideways candle. That's it. So the share market can't do any other type of movement. It's either up, down, or sideways. So there's nothing too complicated about whether you're trying to work out if the market's moving up or down. It's very, very obvious. And there's no two ways about it. It can't be interpreted multiple ways because it either made an up candle or a down candle or sideways. And that's it. The next video we'll have a look at breaking highs and breaking lows.